It's shaping up to be a pretty active first 24 hours. I'm Zach George. If you really want to know how to train a dog from day one, you've hit the jackpot with this series. Meet Shade, a Cane Corso, so raw in his training, he's essentially a blank canvas. Over the next few weeks, I have the task of teaching him to be the epitome of a well-behaved dog. We're gonna tackle those common puppy challenges, housebreaking, not so desirable to me, teaching him how to focus and pay attention, mitigating problematic behaviors like biting and chewing.
Yes, okay, that was great.
Mastering leash etiquette, socialization, and so much more. Can we be candid for a second? Real dog training is a roller coaster. There are always lots of ups and downs. You'll see each triumphant moment, each stumble, and exactly how we navigate the entire process of raising and teaching a dog. You're about to witness dog training in its purest, most unfiltered form. If you're interested in modern dog training, subscribe and click the bell to be notified every time we upload an episode. Click thumbs up. Welcome to your ultimate puppy survival guide. Let's meet Shade and his mom, Katelyn.
Hi, my name is Katelyn and this is Shade. Since he's gonna be such a big boy, I really want to make sure that he has good leash manners and he's not gonna pull. And I just know that as he gets bigger, that strength is just gonna grow. I am absolutely hoping to improve Shade's house training. I don't want him to be a problem jumper. I wanna make sure he comes when he's called. I just wanna make sure that he's a great companion for as long as he can be with us.
It's important to pay attention to the emotional state of any dog we work with, particularly when we're first meeting them. We have to learn about that individual dog.
As I approached, I noticed that Shade backed away.
At first, Shade was nervous to approach me.
I want to be really sensitive to how he's perceiving me, because I can come on kind of strong sometimes with dogs. It's important to be sensitive to dogs at this age in particular.
And we don't want to make too many snap judgments about what that dog's personality is like.
The international language of food. That's one way to build trust.
Oh, look at the tail, he's going.
I like to see if they're interested in toys or how curious they might be. Over the next few weeks, we're tackling multiple fronts with Shade. We're going to attempt to build his confidence and socialize him. This is huge for young dogs. There's a lot to cover, but it's all going to be part of a holistic approach to his well-being.
The bond and the trust, number one. Can't do anything unless you have a good bond with the dog.
Bree is just about to arrive with Shade. My plan is to have the dogs outside when Shade arrives. I think I'm just gonna go straight into the introduction with them. You just never know how dog-to-dog dynamics are gonna go. Bree just called me to tell me he's very emotional and crying and barking a lot.
It's okay, Shade.
And I can totally understand this. I mean, from his perspective, he's just been abducted. One of my main priorities here in the first 24 hours is going to be to make this dog feel comfortable and loved and accepted. It's shaping up to be a pretty active first 24 hours. I think by exercising Veronica and Inertia and making sure they feel satisfied before they meet Shade, that we're gonna increase the odds of a delightful first introduction between those two.
All right, Inertia's been talked into a game of zoomies.
I'm gonna continue to take some time here, get the dogs a little more exercised. I just wanna make sure there's not a lot of pent-up energy. Mom just pulled up. I've been sure to pick up, any resources that might be out, like frisbees. I don't want any conflict. I want the dogs to enjoy each other. I think I'll introduce them through the fence first, make sure there's no red flags from either one. Is the puppy gonna be really excited and wanting to play, or is Shade gonna be a little bit nervous? I'm guessing a little bit nervous, which is one of the reasons I wanna do one dog at a time. Are you nervous? He looks a little nervous right now. Yep, there's a little bit of pee as predicted. Right now we have him on a collar, but we are gonna be fitting him for a harness. And you can see how Inertia's getting small for the puppy. Why don't you go ahead and pick up Veronica, if you don't mind? Because I wanna focus mainly on Inertia. I'm also looking at Shade here. He's a little standoffish more than anything, which is normal for puppies. See how Inertia's trying to be super sweet lying down. You're doing a great job. He's kind of leaning on me here. So he wants to get close, but he wants a little reassurance. And so I really am just trying to avoid overwhelming him straight away. That's Inertia. Inertia, this is Shade. I mean, just a few extra minutes. It can't hurt anything. Okay, come on. Okay, say hi. So I'm gonna drop the leash, let them interact naturally right now. I think I can take the leash off now and let them explore naturally. It's a secure environment. And so I'm just looking for a polite greeting. In general, we want to make sure that the dogs are playing at similar levels. Good girl, Inertia. Inertia's being pretty low key, not being all up in his business.
Inertia's doing such a good job of testing him and then backing off for a minute and kind of sniffing around.
So we got a moose right there. Do you see the moose? There's a moose. I think we'll go to the side yard and resume.
While we as a family deeply appreciate wildlife, it's crucial to approach it with caution. Moose, often deemed Alaska's most dangerous animal, can be particularly unpredictable. To minimize risks and keep things peaceful, we're going to relocate to another section of the yard. I mean, the principle is pretty simple here. De-escalation works not just with dogs, but with wildlife like moose too.
I'm gonna put Inertia up. Let's go ahead and have the dogs greet through a fence. That way there's somewhat of a safety net for both of them in case one feels overwhelmed. So she's a little nervous. She's trying to figure out what to make of him. A nice shake off.
A shake off like this in dogs is a signal that serves as a form of emotional regulation, and it really is part of an animal's complex system of body language. When you see a dog shake off like this, it's a lot like watching them hit a reset button on their emotional state. Often you'll see these shake offs after a tense or uncertain situation has passed. It's almost like a physical manifestation of the dog's desire to shed or dispel residual stress. From a scientific standpoint, one could argue that the shake off serves as a mechanism to restore emotional homeostasis. Much like a human might take a deep breath for self-calming purposes, shake-offs like this also serve as a communicative body language, informing others, be it dogs or humans, that the dog is shifting its emotional state. Understanding the shake-off and other canine body language that we'll discuss routinely throughout the series offers invaluable insights into a dog's emotional well-being.
Yeah, here he goes.
She's keeping her distance, all fine. And so I'm here to advocate for both dogs should anything look weird, but so far this all looks pretty healthy initially. First impressions are Veronica's nervous, but very curious and very interested. She's quite respectful of him. He's respectful of her. He's not coming on too strong. Looks like pretty healthy puppy behavior in my book. So we're having a house built. On one hand, I could be annoyed by this since I'm trying to produce a series, but I actually kind of appreciate it as a dog trainer because construction sounds and noises, right off the bat, you can see he's taking notice in it. He's never seen anything like that.
He's trembling.
Yeah, he is trembling, a little nervous.
As we witness Shade's reaction to this construction equipment, it's normal to feel concerned by the trembling,
And we'll give him comfort.
I'm looking for signs of gradual relaxation and curiosity. This approach really aligns with the principles of desensitization, essentially aiming to reduce fear through measured and thoughtful exposure.
We want to be patient.
In dog training, understanding when to proceed and when to pull back requires a lot of observation and experience. With Shade's reaction to that construction noise, I've opted to continue the exposure at a comfortable distance, really balancing his nervousness, one that can lead to significant growth and confidence with Shade over time. The key here is to monitor closely, recognizing improvement and being ready to adjust if needed. We also want to be careful of sensitization with him, which is basically where if we expose him to something that's causing him too much stress, it can get worse. Sensitization occurs when a dog's stress or fear response intensifies upon repeated exposure to a specific stimulus. In this case, it would be the construction noise.
But given that he's allowed to kind of maintain that distance, he could go farther away. If he was really scared, he might go over there or towards the door.
While it is crucial to expose dogs to various environments for socialization, there is a fine line that we have to tread. Too much stress, especially without the opportunity for positive associations, can lead to an escalated emotional state each time the dog encounters that same noise in the future. So it's not really just a matter of getting your dog used to it. Without careful management, the emotional toll can increase, complicating future training and well-being. Ultimately, the idea is to make our training environment as conducive as possible for positive learning experiences. I'm kind of staying out here intentionally for a little while, just because he's starting to do better. Jumping is one of my biggest concerns with dogs like this.
I'm gonna back up here so he doesn't get reinforced for it. I wanna see how he reacts when I play Frisbee with Inertia.
When I see even a glimmer of interest in the toy from a dog, those early signs hit at the possibility that we may be able to establish some type of play ritual.
Love that he's curious.
Like fetch or tug of war down the line. Engaging in play can trigger not just serotonin and dopamine, but also oxytocin and other endorphins. And these neurochemicals are like natural accelerators for positive change. So that's an area that I really want to pay special attention to and nourish.
Oh, he's got the chase in him, okay. First P, good man. I think it's time to introduce him to the inside. So my goal now is just to give him an introduction to the main living area where he'll be spending his time with us.
I hope my puppy proofing was sufficient because my objective now is to let him freely explore this area, which is relatively small. But you know, I'm really still buzzing from that moment that he showed interest in the toy a little while ago. To me, play isn't just some little optional extra. If a dog shows any joy in it, I think it's a must that we harness that. Puppies need a lot of tactile engagement with their environment, so I love things that are different textures for them. This texture is different than this texture, is different than this crinkly texture. And the way that I've guaranteed that our dogs and the dogs I'm working with continue to get those experiences are by getting BarkBox. What? Come on, I didn't even know that. It's a pizza bagel. A puzzle toy, essentially. A rated R movie VHS. That is fine art. They'll send you a variety of really well thought out dog toys along with amazing treats and chews every single month. You can choose from 2 categories. Dogs who are really hard on toys, that's Super Chewer. But look how hard. BarkBox toys are more plush, but still very tough. Tough dogs also want furry toys. Super Chewers come up with this. But as your dog continues to enjoy it, this will emerge, and this is a really practical toy. You can put things like peanut butter in here to really make these toys even more enjoyable. That's a Super Chewer tug toy. This will be perfect for Shade when he's like a few weeks older. Right now, you can choose $50 worth of toys, treats, and more. When you subscribe using my special link, I'll have it in the description. You know that it's all about play for me. The sooner you get that going, the better. Structured play offers a goldmine of benefits. It's not just a motivator, but it's a catalyst for learning, allowing us to really tap into those awesome brain chemicals we talked about a moment ago. See, they don't just appear, they flood the system, enhancing emotional well-being and their cognitive function, which as a dog trainer is really in our best interest. I'm looking for any potential signs of resource guarding the toys on his end. Good man, I think we just got our first fetch. Yeah, I'm gonna have to be conservative with exercising him with him being so young and being a large breed dog. Veronica's reaction is gonna be a little bit more complex. There's a little bit of concern over here with Veronica. She's not like, hey, let's play in the way that Inertia is. She's a little more reserved. Understandably, he's much bigger than she is. He's 30 pounds. She's only 13 pounds, more than double her size. In this first indoor introduction, you'll notice Veronica is on the couch. Her eyes are fixed on Shade. Let's talk about her emotional state for a moment. You can see her stress levels are likely a little bit elevated. This is all really new to her. This form of observational learning is so invaluable. Now, it's a low-risk way for her to engage her environment, now very different because there is this new, strange dog that's entered it. You might be tempted to rush this process and put your dog directly on the ground. But let's evaluate why that is not ideal here. That could spike those stress hormones like cortisol, maybe adrenaline, which could hinder her ability to think freely and make reasoned decisions. Very often, observation is by far the best first step. Every dog has a unique personality, and Veronica's apprehension is a reminder that introductions require attentiveness to each dog's comfort level. I don't think her behavior is a roadblock or anything. It's an opportunity to explore and address what might be causing her unease. This is a big part of managing a multi-dog household, recognizing each dog's needs and emotions and responding with empathy and skill. And right now, I'm just allowing Veronica to observe, where she basically is just kind of filing information. We'll see how it gets processed throughout the relationship. In terms of socialization with him, I do have some concerns. I got a video from his mom, Katelyn. He currently lives with another dog, but there was some concerning behavior that I saw with Shade and the other older dog that I want to make sure we're on top of. So basically, he got a little firm with an older dog and even mounted the dog. If healthy corrections by our dogs are needed, I'm hoping to see that. It really is evident that he could benefit from more social cues from other dogs. His behavior, though typical for his age, could possibly lead to issues down the road if we don't address them. I'll be closely monitoring any appropriate corrections from our older dogs. These are natural ways that dogs communicate boundaries to one another, but it's far removed from human-imposed aversive techniques. I want to get him on a harness ASAP. Here, what's this? Contrary to popular belief, a harness does not teach a dog to pull, so let's address that. We are going to be using the harness for safe containment, not communication. I really just want to get him comfortable with this, touching him, and so far, it's not phasing him a bit. I want to at least get him comfortable with the harness. Try something. Look at that. Do you see how we're using a treat to guide his head through? We're really sidestepping any potential stress that forcing the harness could cause. This makes putting on the harness a friction-free experience. Do you see how we got him to voluntarily put the harness on? So I'm just letting him walk around for a second with it on. Here, I'm gonna put some
treats on the ground there.
Just by putting a good treat and having him put his head through the hole. It is this easy to make these small extra efforts in order to have dramatic gains. It can be hard to resist rushing through. When people say positive reinforcement takes longer, they're not right. And so now with the leash and the harness, we can really monitor him.
And these two can't be forgotten either. They're doing a great job.
Now we have a leash and a harness so we can control the environment, keep him from overwhelming Veronica, getting into trouble, and just teach him how to be a great boy.
All right, Shade, let's go outside, sir. I know that he's extremely likely to pee and or poop in this house because he hasn't identified it as his living area. It's important to let dogs out every 30 minutes, every hour or so, especially during the first day or two. I'd rather take him out too much and have him not go. But man, so I'm gonna walk him around here. So far, he hasn't had to go. I've been out here a few minutes, and this is how it goes. You're not entitled to success every time you come outside here. The important thing is that we're giving him opportunities because his potty accidents, even as a puppy, are gonna be no joke. And you can imagine if his house training doesn't get under control, what that's gonna be like. Well done. Mom is cooking dinner. We have Veronica lying down right here. Then we have Shade over here all the way across the room. And this is a good way to give Veronica some exposure. So while we prepare dinner, they're learning to coexist in this calm and controlled environment. This will really ease them into familiarity with one another without overwhelming either dog, especially Veronica. You can see the art of introducing dogs to each other is nuanced, and this scenario really illustrates the importance of being patient, observing each dog's dynamics, and understanding their individual needs. I think he snores. I can't believe we're only a few hours in and we've done this much already. When I tell you we're gonna cover everything your new puppy needs to know, I'm not exaggerating. Shade must learn better dog-to-dog etiquette. Leash skills are a must for giant breed dogs like this. We're gonna be diving deep into socialization, as well as all of that critical foundational training. Our journey together has only just begun. The transformation promises to be remarkable. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Threads. Choose $50 of treats, toys, and more when you subscribe to BarkBox or Super Chewer via my special links in the description. The next episode is gonna be fire.